Hey guys, Duane here. I want to hit a topic that keeps coming up, and that is that phase of this whole process whenever you are beating yourself up because of what you've been through and because of what you allowed. I was even actually watching a video from another YouTuber who isn't in this genre of material, but they were talking about a narcissistic relationship that they were in that was actually pretty violent, pretty bad. And one of the things that I find amazing with everybody, and I even went through this myself, is when you finally realize what you're going through, you beat yourself up because you allowed it to happen. And we lose sight of what we were going through in the midst of this and how we were blinded. But as soon as we see through the mask, and as soon as we've been discarded and we're actually taking the full brunt of the narcissistic rage, it's like we forget everything that we went through, meaning we forget all the times that we made excuses, that we ignored it, that we discounted what we were thinking. And now that you know, now that you see it clearly, you beat yourself up for allowing it to happen, for not standing up for yourself, for being so blind. And the thing is that when you go through something like this, this is traumatic. This is traumatic in and of itself. And the last thing we need to do is add more BS into our situation, to add more stress and anxiety than what we're already dealing with. Because we're dealing with a lot. You're dealing with a lot. So to sit there and then turn around and then beat yourself up because you even got into this situation, it's counterproductive. Sure, whenever you look back, you can see your situation a hell of a lot more clearly. You can see exactly what was going on, and you get it, and you know it, and you understand it now. But you can't judge yourself because of that. Think about it. And I don't know, I'm going to ask this question, and maybe, I'm not sure what your answer would be. But if you were talking to somebody who had gone through this experience, would you cut them down and make them feel horrible for even allow it? Would you say to them, well, you were in that relationship and you allowed it. You may not have acknowledged it, but you were there. You thought that was appropriate behavior. You wouldn't do that. I would hope you wouldn't do that. The thing is that we have to learn to be kind to ourselves. We have to give ourselves a break. Yes, we made a mistake. Yes, we may have made a mistake for a long time. My situation, it was 2 decades. But that doesn't mean that we have to say that we should have known on day one what we were dealing with. We didn't know. You didn't know. You didn't know what you were dealing with. You were you were sold a bill of goods that you believed. And most of us did not come from a situation where we thought these type of people really existed. You didn't think that everyone, or not everyone, but you didn't think that this person that you decided to get in a relationship with was going to lie to you, was going to cheat you, was going to tell you whatever the hell they wanted to tell you to get what they wanted. You didn't think that. You believed it. You thought it was genuine. When they showed interest in you, you thought it was real. When they were being affectionate and loving with you, you thought it was real. Whenever they had a slip up, you thought it was a bad day. You made excuses for it. I just want to bring this up because I see constantly with people, especially who are early into this, who just torture themselves because they should have known. And how were you supposed to know? Did someone teach you this in the beginning? No one taught me. No one sat me down and said, hey, look, people can be very manipulative. People can lie to you. People can betray your trust. People can look you right in the eye and tell you exactly what you want to hear to gain your trust. The sad part about this is that we all know that there are con artists, and we all know that there are manipulative people out there. But we always hear those stories after something has happened, right? You always hear about the person who ultimately gets caught and And then in that situation, you're like, oh, I see all the signs. You know, most of the time we don't see the situation where somebody builds up to a situation. Maybe sometimes we do. And I would even venture to guess that if you know somebody who is in a toxic relationship, because you weren't in it, you might have saw it. You might have saw the warning signs of what was going on and that there were problems with that relationship. Now, conversely, what happens is that sometimes it's the opposite, right? Sometimes people are like, oh my God, Billy and Julie were like that? You guys always, I mean, they look like the perfect couple, right? They are so good at playing the illusion, playing a part. You can't beat yourself up because you weren't able to detect it. They're really good at this too. We know it. I mean, you want to think, I mean, hell, I even want to think when I look back at it, yep, I saw all the warning signs, which I did. I mean, I did see a lot of warning signs, but I didn't want to believe it. I thought that that was just a personality quirk, some of those things I saw, and I thought that fundamentally we loved each other and that it was just, you know, you love somebody for better or worse and everyone has their own little quirks. I rationalized it. You probably rationalized it too. So if you find yourself sitting there beating yourself up because you ended up in one of these relationships, maybe you even ended up in a couple of these relationships, don't do that to yourself. You owe it to yourself to give you the same level of peace that you would give someone else. Be kind to yourself. Once you can start doing that, then you can really focus on healing and moving out of this trauma. Now, the last thing I want to just mention on this, and this is something that can be a part of this, is sometimes we get used to the trauma, right? We spend so much of our lives in trauma that I think sometimes we go through this phase where we start beating ourselves up because we don't have an antagonist sitting there telling us we are a piece of crap because they've discarded us or we've finally got away from them. So we still kind of need that chaos in our lives. So since there's no one else to do it, we'll do it to ourselves. It's really common. It's very common when you've been through something like this, when we've been through something like this, to do exactly that. This is a gradual process for healing. I just want to throw this out there because I see a lot of times people beating themselves up on this, and maybe I can just, you know, put a little intercept in there and get you to take a pause and say, hey, wait a minute. I need to stop doing that. That's not right. All right. If you're struggling with this and you have some things you want to add it in the comments below. I'd like to know how you're dealing with this if you're in that phase where you're beating yourself up, where you're just like, wait a minute, you know, I messed up, I'm a horrible person. And if you've been able to break through on that, I'd like to hear that as well. So maybe we can continue this discussion down in the comments below. If you like this channel and you think it's helpful, please consider subscribing so you get notified whenever I post new videos, which right now is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I will chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.